Known the world over as the Merc with a Mouth, the last time we saw our favorite anti-hero on the big screen, his mouth was literally sewn shut. This time, however, that isn't the case. 2010's sexiest man alive, Ryan Reynolds, reprises his role as a regenerate degenerate in 20th Century Fox Deadpool. Hello, boys and girls. I'm your host for today's installment of Defiant Giant Live, Steven Spivak, and today we're breaking down Deadpool, 2016's first superhero blockbuster hit. Joining me are my guests Jose DeGracia and Jonathan Bowens. Gentlemen, hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. And let's start off with running down the cast for this film. Ryan Reynolds, obviously, as Wade Wilson, Mr. Deadpool.
Wait, what?
Have you not seen the film, sir?
I have. I thought it was somebody else.
Then we have Ed Skrein as Ajax or Francis, Morena Baccarin as Vanessa.
I always thought it was pronounced Baccarin.
I don't know. I'm not good with names. T.J. Miller as Weasel, Brianna Hillenbrand as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Stefan, I'm going to screw this one up too. Kapicic?
Kapicic?
Sure. As the voice of Colossus.
Sure.
Leslie Uggams as Blind Al. And then, obviously, the film was directed by Tim Miller. Let's start off by getting your knowledge of Deadpool. Jose, we'll start with you. How well do you know the character?
Well, I got into Deadpool. I was reading Wizard magazine.
Okay.
And it mentioned Cable and Deadpool as like one of the funniest comics out there. So I was like, all right, well, I'll check this out. And I picked up a Cable and Deadpool trade. It was The Human Race or whatever. And it starts just before the events of House of M in the comics.
Yeah.
And goes through that. And it was just hilarious from the beginning. I had no real sort of interaction with Deadpool apart from like a few, things here and there. And this is like when I'm really getting into comics in like 2006. I read this, and Deadpool is just hilarious to me. And Cable is a great foil for Deadpool in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like, I'd say the third trade in that volume. So I'm like picking up the story as it goes. But, from that point on, Deadpool was one of my favorites. So when I started seeing him in more video games and things like that, I got really excited. I was like, wow, this guy's actually pretty great, and it's just exploded from here on. And he's everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere. John, how about yourself? How
Well,
well do you know Deadpool?
I'm an old school comic guy.
When you say old school, what do you mean old school? You're talking in the 90s or
Well,
like
80s, 90s, yeah. So
Okay.
Deadpool was kind of new to me, and I think I got introduced to him maybe like the Hulk versus Wolverine animated comic movie, whatever. But I thought he was pretty cool. I like dark stuff,
Yeah.
like Blade, Punisher, Batman stuff, but like the Dark Knight. I thought he was pretty cool. He looks cool, does cool stuff. I thought he was kind of annoying at first, but I mean, he's an annoying character.
That's kind of Deadpool's thing, to
Yeah.
be annoying.
It's this thing. So.
Me personally, I think my first real introduction to Deadpool was in the Marvel vs. Capcom 3. My friend had brought the game over, and his favorite character to play as, with obvious reasons, with Deadpool using his name bar in his hyper combo.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Hulk versus Wolverine stuff. And then Deadpool was actually the first comic book that I bought. Now I'm boasting a collection worth $10,000 and of about 2,000 books. But the first book I picked
now, is
up.
it worth $10,000, or did you spend $10,000? Because those are two totally different things.
Spent a lot less than $10,000.
Okay, all right. If you say so.
But I saw that they were going to quote unquote kill Deadpool. I was like, well, you know what? What a better time to start reading when they're killing someone. Right. So that was where I started, and to this day, I think I have every issue since then that Deadpool's been in. I even have Deadpool's first appearance, which is locked in a lockbox. Nobody will ever touch it or see it. So let's get back to the film at hand, though, the Deadpool film. Overall, did you enjoy the film, yes or no?
Absolutely, I loved it.
Okay. John?
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we gonna hit on that a little later as to why you thought it was only okay?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I personally love the film. I have my gripes with it, but overall I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's by no means a perfect movie, you know. Like it's got its flaws, but one of the best times I've had in a movie theater in a long time.
Well,
just enjoying it.
Let's start with talking about the film's marketing. So much viral marketing. We had the emoji billboard, or the skull poo L billboard, and then we had the Valentine's Day billboard, which they marketed the film as a love film, as a chick flick. So many viral videos, which are still rolling out to this day, almost 2 weeks after the film's been released. Deadpool has a Tinder profile, there's an emoji app, a Deadpool Instagram account, Deadpool's on Mike's Hard Lemonade cans. There was a personal favorite that came from everything, though, for me was when Deadpool was going around with kids on Halloween dressed as X-Men characters. Have either of you seen that video?
Yeah, that was pretty great.
It's fantastic.
Good stuff.
And then there was also the breast cancer and testicular cancer awareness PSAs.
Yeah, which are like weird ways to
relate to the character.
Yeah, and it's also to get Deadpool to talk about holding your balls in a PSA, you know,
Exactly.
or talk about holding your titties, you know, and you're supposed to check yourself, and it's a thing that everyone needs to do. Everyone needs to be able to check themselves as you get older. Like I'm older now, and you know, I'm gonna have to check myself every now and then. And if you can tie that into a Deadpool movie coming up, that's even better. Like,
Yeah.
It's
So
much more
I
fantastic.
assume that's your
educational.
favorite marketing ploy of the film.
It's one of the most clever.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about favorite, but
What about you, John? Was there anything that stood out to you in the marketing of this film?
At movie theaters, they had the little, like the billboard posted thing where you can sit on
You
his
could
lap.
sit on Deadpool's lap,
Yeah.
and it said "sit on this."
Yeah, and I think that put a lot of like marketing into like social media and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Where like people taking pictures and they post
Yep,
it.
exactly.
So yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna throw it to our first commercial, which is "Come for the Tosh," directed by Mr. Jose DeGracia here.
now this was for the Tosh Bowl Super Bowl commercial contest, and this was something showing that you know, you do a Super Bowl commercial and they'll show it on Comedy Central, but during the Super Bowl halftime show. So no one's actually watching Comedy Central at the time. So we just decided we had like a day to get this in to try and get it. This is off of an idea my wife had, by the way. So
Okay, let's just.
I
show
really
it.
had a lot of fun doing it, so let's check it out.
You're watching Tosh.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were. I can hear you. You're watching Tosh. You're wearing the Tosh robe. That's my laptop, honey. I can't do this
Okay,
anymore.
just-
I don't know. I don't
just
know
give
if
me
you
a
want
second,
to,
just
honey,
give me a
but I
second,
can't do
please.
this anymore.
Okay. I have an idea that can benefit the both of us.
It's what she really wants. Come for the Tosh.
All right, welcome back, guys. Let's talk about the Easter eggs and cameos in Deadpool. I think the first one I noticed was
Hold up. Heavy spoiler talk in case you haven't gotten the message yet.
yes, spoiler warning. Now is the time to pause and go see the film, or keep watching. It's up to you.
Odds are you've seen it by now if you're watching this.
Yes. Don't click on a review of a film that you haven't seen.
Carry on.
I think the first one I noticed was the name Rob L. on the coffee cup in the car.
Yes.
A nod to Robert Liefeld, co-creator of Deadpool, who also made a cameo in the first bar shot. It was very quick. I don't think a lot of people picked up on it. I know I didn't personally pick up on it in the theater.
Some people didn't catch it the first time, but he just goes like, "Buck," Liefeld.
I heard him say the name, but
Yeah.
I didn't actually see the cameo.
Yeah.
But back to that first opening shot, you have the Green Lantern card that is shown, which was very clever.
Yeah. I don't think that's actually like him in that costume. It's just a dude
It's as
dressed
close
like
as they
Green
could
Lantern.
get to
Legally distinct.
Yes, exactly. And then, of course, there's also the mention of the super suit being animated in green.
Yes.
There were also plenty of nods on the street signs in that epic
The bridge
throwdown.
sequence.
Yes, where Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead eventually show up to Fabian Nicieza. Is that how- Nicieza? I think it's Nicieza, who was also co-creator of Deadpool
Yes.
with Rob
and
Liefeld.
His writing is very good. Like anything
Yes.
that's got his name on it is pretty great. He's the one who wrote that the first like batch of Cable and Deadpool that I really got into.
Okay. There was also a famous Feige. That's
Feige,
right. You're
Kevin
right.
Feige.
Famous Feige's pizza box, which is a nod to Kevin Feige. Gosh, I keep doing it.
Kevin Feigelus.
Who produced X-Men and Blade Trinity. Blade Trinity, which Ryan Reynolds was in, but is now the head of Marvel Studios. Deadpool also mentioned how Fox couldn't afford more than 2 X-Men to appear in the film,
Right.
which I thought was fantastic.
That was one of the best jokes in
I
the whole
think
movie.
that was the best joke in the movie.
You think that was the
fine.
best joke?
It's one of them.
I personally am kind of partial to the next one I'm about to mention, where Colossus wants to bring Deadpool to the Professor. And then
Stewart or
Deadpool's
McAvoy?
like, Stewart or McAvoy, which I thought was fantastic.
These timelines are so confusing.
Yeah, I think that was personally my favorite.
Pretty great.
Anything else? There's
I
a
like
ton.
I like the other version of Deadpool, the little toy that he had.
Oh
I thought
yeah,
that was
the
pretty funny.
Origins version of
Yeah.
Deadpool that showed up on
this
the.
is my most prized possession. And he just kind of
Yeah.
tosses it aside. Wham.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was great.
Is that
Um,
I think a personal favorite joke is the fight between Colossus and Deadpool when Deadpool's really pissed, tries to hit him and it breaks his arm, and which is disgusting, and is the only way you could do that is it's a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
And that's what would happen if you punched Colossus with like all your strength, thinking that you're gonna do something to him.
Let's also bring up Stan Lee,
Yes,
who was a strip club MC.
that's right. Yeah, best Stanley cameo ever. I would say
it was definitely not your typical Stan Lee cameo.
he had lines and like more than just one thing to say too.
Yeah.
Like he's on in the background like during the scenes like as it happened.
Yeah.
You can't buy love, but you can rent it for 3 minutes.
Yes, that got me really kind of lost it at that one. I think the thing that surprised me the most, the best or most surprising Easter egg was when Bob showed up.
Yeah.
Obviously not Hydra Bob because Hydra is
Certainly,
owned
no,
by
not Hydra Bob by any stretch.
Marvel Studios. But,
Not to say he might have worked in a place with octopus
some
for a
people.
logo. I don't know, but Bob.
Yeah, exactly. I was really surprised on that one. I love that character. The camaraderie between
so silly.
between Deadpool and Bob in the comics is just you can't even explain it. Go out and read a comic book, ladies and gentlemen. And then one that I feel is kind of a stretch, but very possible, is the final battle that people seem to think took place on a decommissioned SHIELD helicarrier.
It definitely is a helicarrier that they're fighting on. Whether it's SHIELD or not, you don't see any logos. It's legally distinct. It's enough to be up in the air to where like it doesn't like that's not a SHIELD helicarrier.
Yeah.
That is a helicarrier.
Yeah.
And the only people that use helicarriers are SHIELD.
Exactly. And then I'm going to spoil the end credits here.
What?
But the nod to Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Oh yeah.
and then mentioning why we're all still there, expecting Sam Jackson to show up in a nice leather number.
Yeah.
Which is another great nod to the Marvel Cinematic Universe without actually mentioning any Marvel properties, which I think this film did very well on doing so. There's a lot of nods that we didn't even get to, and there's a lot of Easter eggs we didn't even get to, but it gives people a reason to see the film. But now, let's go to another commercial. This one's for Devil's Doorbell, directed by Brian Dean. Take a look.
This story is one of my favorites. My mother used to read it to me.
Oh my God.
They're kind of pushing me to go fast, but pop in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Let's discuss how true the film was to the character. This is kind of where my gripes come in.
Oh yeah.
I feel that there was, how do I put this? The profanity, I felt was a little excessive.
Well.
I mean, I get that in the comics, Deadpool kind of, he says some things, but it's always, hashtag, @ exclamation point,
Right.
But
And how would you put that in an R-rated movie?
True.
It would be an uncensored fuck.
Which will be censored.
Shit. So, but like, when you represent that in a movie, it's going to be uncensored. He's going to be saying it out loud, unless you want to go for the comedic effect and bleep it out. That's a whole other thing.
True.
That only worked like once.
It would have been fun to see. It definitely would have been fun to see that happen in the film.
Yeah, as one joke.
I also didn't like the lack of Deadpool's voices in his head, which was greatly put out there in the video game, the Deadpool video game, which was very well done. I think they could have adapted that to the film just fine, but I feel like it was something that was overlooked.
It might have been a little too much for this movie, honestly, and I thought that they might do something with it after he got stabbed in the head.
Yeah.
Because then he started to see things, and he started to just be crazier in general. He hasn't exactly lost his mind yet, and I feel like maybe there's something that happens to him in the beginning of the next one that could lead into that. But the multiple voices really works when it's just Deadpool.
Yeah.
If he's on screen with other people talking to other people, he might be hearing voices. We don't know.
Yeah. I think with it being an origins film too, they can get away without putting everything into the character at first.
Exactly.
And then give you something to come back for. So I mean, it's like I said, it's a small gripe, but it's a gripe I have. What about the two of you? How do you think overall the film played to the character?
Well, a complaint I've seen is that Deadpool's a lot more sexual in this movie than he's portrayed normally in the comics. A lot of dirtier jokes, very blue sort of things. Fucking this video.
Santa Pool.
And while you're taking advantage of the R rating as much as you can, and that's probably more Ryan Reynolds style, like bringing that to the character.
Yeah.
If Deadpool was played by someone who didn't make his career on Van Wilder, you know what I mean? Then it might be different. Then he might make different kinds of jokes. I don't know. If you had a different comedian being Deadpool, but still doing like all the crazy stuff, it would be more tailored towards their style of comedy.
But let's mention how basically Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. It's one of those roles where you can't really distinguish the two. Now, John, I'm assuming you have a gripe with that.
I do have something with it. I mean, this is part of the reason why I just said it was okay, is because like Ryan Reynolds is that same person, the same character in every movie. and it's just like I felt like you said, it felt like Van Wilder in the Deadpool suit.
Well, that's how he got the role.
I know that's how you got the role, but I
eh,
mean sometimes like you.
But I kind of look at it
Even
like
if somebody, even if you say like, "Oh, this person be perfect as this character," like sometimes I don't think it'll work.
I understand your gripe of him being basically the same character in every film, but I feel like I feel like his characters in other films are Deadpool, not that Deadpool is his character from other films. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I get what you're saying.
That Deadpool was a role that he was basically born to play. I look at it akin to Robert Downey Jr. being Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
That like he's had other roles where he's been this cool, suave dude, but when he came into being Iron Man, and
It's like,
he
this
kind
is
of
his
just
moment.
it's the embodiment of what that character is.
Mm-hmm.
It just being that human being in and of itself.
Yeah, it would be hard to place really anyone else in that role right now, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even dream casting, you know, who are you going to pick? If you had to pick someone else to be Deadpool right now, because Ryan Reynolds got hit by a truck or something, you know?
I mean,
That's
but,
a horrible fate,
I
and
think
hopefully that
that's just-
doesn't happen to Ryan
That's why it's
Reynolds.
hypothetical.
Anyway, that's good.
I don't like when like they put like big actors into roles and like especially like comic book roles because like it's like Halle Berry. It's not Storm. I see Halle Berry. You know what I mean? It's just I like when they pick like unknown actors or like
Too popular for the role.
exactly yeah. So I think
So you
Ryan
like
Reynolds is
you like
kinda
the Sebastian Stan being brought in as Winter Soldier and making a career off that role,
Exactly.
rather than the other way around.
exactly.
I kind of agree with that.
I can see that.
I like not affiliating somebody with something that's already happened.
So
Because
Paul
then-
Rudd as Ant-Man, you're
I mean, at first I didn't like it, but he did such a good job that like I didn't feel like it was Paul Rudd. I mean, he played the character pretty good.
okay.
But like when you have something like that, when like the person is more famous than the role, then it's like just like how the X3, the third X-Men movie. It was more like okay, we got to give her more screen time. It is like it kind of messed up
But
the story.
Let's talk about how Deadpool wouldn't even be on the screen if it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds.
I understand that, but I mean, he could have produced it. He didn't have to play the role. You know what I mean?
I don't think he would have produced it if he wasn't going to play the role.
True,
that's-
probably so.
You know, I don't know. He made it
He
happen.
did make it happen.
You know, maybe we can come to the discussion of who else could play Deadpool in, at a different time. But
I mean, but then you're gonna do that again by picking actors you already know, and it might end up wrong.
yeah,
Okay, not to get too caught up on something, but let's move forward a little bit. Least favorite part of the film, favorite part of the film.
least favorite part of the film.
My least part, I mean, I thought most of the jokes were lame, man. I really didn't laugh at most of the jokes. It was maybe like 3 or 4 that were really funny.
I kind of agree with you that there were too many jokes put into the trailers, and not enough
probably what it
added
is, yeah.
into the film to be original just to the film.
That's true, but I do feel like the jokes were coming at you like in like a shotgun formation. He's gonna fire off like 6 or 7 jokes, and if one of them makes you laugh, there's enough like filler in between there to get you to the next part of the scene, or get you moving on. You know, when TJ Miller, that's his name, right? The guy who played Weasel. When he just says some dumb shit that like you don't even realize is a joke until like after the fact. Like
Until
for example, when he's
you're like sitting there thinking about the movie 3 hours later.
yeah, well, he'll be like, hey, go talk to that guy. It might advance the plot. Like, like it takes a sec to hit you.
Yeah.
You're like, that's fucking funny. You know, and then before you know it, Ryan Reynolds has like made 3 pedophile jokes at the dude sitting at the table. You know what I mean? I feel like that sort of shotgun blast pattern that works with me because I get the joke, I laugh, and I just keep going because I'll just keep listening to all of it. As if it appeals to you, sure. My wife did not laugh at as nearly many jokes as I did, and I'm on my second viewing, and I'm still laughing my ass off when I saw it with her. So I mean, it's just different things appeal to different people, man.
All right, so for the sake of time, let's discuss the sequel, or the possible sequel. Casting of Cable. There were Deadpool suggestions of, I believe, Mel Gibson, Dolph Lundgren,
Dolph Lundgren.
and Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yes.
I truly would like to see Keira Knightley in the role. I think it'd be very interesting to see. I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up on story since we're running short on time here.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think the guy, Stephen Lang.
the guy that is being pretty
Yeah.
much he is Cable.
He's
Yeah.
campaigning for it, for sure.
Yeah. I think he posted something like immediately, like the day Deadpool came out.
Yeah,
He
he's
posted
played
the pictures
Cable
of it.
type characters before. I can't remember exactly what.
That was
Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Yeah, in Avatar.
Mhm.
Okay, for the sake of time though, out of 5 stars,
4 stars.
John,
I give it 3.5.
I'll give it 4.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's about enough. As much time as we have today.
Nonsense. Listen to podcasts. We get like
We
8
would-
hours of this.
We would like to invite you to join us on the next episode of Defiant Giant Live. For my guests, Jonathan Bowens and Jose DeGracia, I'm Steve Spivak. And for everyone here at Defiant Giant, thanks for watching. Until next time, we're out.